right, welcome to the channel, guys. This is it. My 2009 Honda Civic Si with 265,000 miles on it. This is it in all its glory. All right, so this is going to be my project car for the next couple months. So I can't wait to bring you guys awesome content. So as you can see, got a K20 Z3 engine. Typically is what is in this car, 09's 8th generation. Kept it pretty stock once I bought it brand new. Never did any modifications of any sort, so was just worried about driving the car. It was my 9 to 5, and did the usual maintenance, brakes, oil changes, spark plugs, etc., but never really did any modifications or any intakes or anything fancy. So I've come to a point where I think it's time to turn this into a project car, and that's why I've created this channel. And hopefully it will bring you an awesome insight into some of the struggles that we Honda owners feel every time we do these modifications or changes to our stuff. I can't wait to bring you exclusive content into my journey. A lot of good stuff in the works. So most recently I did change out my header, my exhaust header, which is in the back. You can see there it's a Meg Racing header. The only reason I went with it is because it fit the one that I had previously, obviously from the factory. Couple differences right off the top, so I guess this will be a good plug for Meg Racing headers. There's no stock heat shield brackets to attach that, so I had to get rid of it. As you can see there, it has the fiberglass wrapping around it, so to kind of dissipate some of that heat. So was one of my struggles was getting that tape around the piping, because it does have the very unique shape as the pipes kind of meet in the center there. Yeah, but other than that, there are two brackets, or two bolts I should say, on the end of that thing, and a third one was connected to the body of the car. Unfortunately, that rusted over, and to get to it was going to be a pain in the you-know-what. So it did rust over, so it just kind of hangs there. But I left the bracket intact because to get to that bracket, you have to disconnect the heat shield that's over. I don't know if they call that thing a transaxle, but there's an axle that runs from the transmission across to your wheel. And to get to that bracket, you have to take the heat shield off. And I tried to unscrew one of them. There's two bolts on that thing to get to the bracket. And I kind of messed the bolt up as I was backing it out because it was so rusted over, it kind of bent on me. So I had to leave it alone. It wouldn't have anything, any rattling going on when I was driving the car. So for the time being, it held pretty good even without that bracket. So, and I also replaced the catalytic converter, which is this guy here. This is the old one. I did get that one pretty cheap. I think $300 to $400. I think it came from California. I just don't remember if it was Amazon or eBay. So that's what this channel is going to be dedicated to, is just finding parts that either are mods or, inexpensive replacements, because when you go to the dealership's going to charge an arm and a leg for certain things. I get it. Some things are worth getting from the dealership. For example, like these bolts that go on to the header, the exhaust header or exhaust manifold. So I'll give you an example. I bought some off of eBay. Don't mind the messy workstation because it's a work in progress. So once I'm done, I'll eventually put everything back together. But some of these bolts, like for example, this one here, not that one, this one. These two studs have the nuts attached, and the other ones are more of a kind of like this, right? So you can see just by looking at it, these are zinc, or at least I think they're zinc. Here's an example. Here's the old one. And you can see on the end of the bolt, there's kind of like almost like a taper, I guess if you will. Versus buying something off of eBay that doesn't have that taper, just that little simple thing will, be very disastrous for you when you're trying to get this in. And obviously that's the struggle I dealt with. So I was pretty pissed off about it because these bolts were zinc. This one was stainless. I had 3 of these stainless. and 2 of these that were zinc. So I paid $38, and I thought I was getting all of them in stainless, and I didn't. So I'll be taking it up with them. I'll just, say, hey, these guys kind of misrepresented the item, because I thought they were all going to be stainless. But anyway, so I had to go back to the factory or OEM bolts that came with it. Thank God when I backed them out, they were actually still pretty good, as you could see on the exhaust manifold or exhaust header. Yeah, I mean, sometimes things like this, the simplest things, can cause the biggest headaches. Won't dwell too much on that. But yeah, these are some of the things that we go through. Some of it has to be customized, and some parts will not be available through the dealership. So you have to kind of, refurbish some of the things that you have. For example, like I'm working on 2 brackets right there that go here to hold up the AC line. And I'm just sanding them down, painting them, putting them back. I have a new idler pulley bracket that's coming from Japan to get that back on. Dealership wanted like 150, 160 bucks. I got it for like 55, and it is a true Honda part. So I also replaced, I don't know if you could see that, I also replaced the VTEC solenoid, which is down there. So that's something most recently that I did. Again, replace the bolts from Honda, so I wouldn't be messing with the same issue with the bolts that I did with the header or with the exhaust header. But yeah, so the VTEC solenoid, so common problems with these cars is they have oil leakages in different areas. So some of the valve cover, there's the gasket, needs some Honda Bond on a couple of the joints, and it does leak a little bit of oil. So when I replaced the solenoid, which is in the back there, let's see if I can get in there. There we go. Let me put the light on it a little bit so you can see this guy right here on the corner. So I just replaced that, and the rubber, there's like a filter slash like rubber, I don't want to call it an O-ring because it's not a true O, but anyway, that thing was so flat and flush with the metal that eventually over time it leaks out, and that's the problems you get with these cars, is the constant oil leakage. So but that was replaced, so I'm kind of excited to see if I stop the leak there. Then also on the valve cover, like I said, the gasket all around it. There is a service bulletin for this. When the car came out in 2009, I don't know if it was specific to that year, but they said there was an overspray on the valve cover. So when it caused the overspray on the lip where the seal goes, there was a little bit of oil leakage coming out from the side. So I do have the parts. I do have all these bushes, the grommets, and all those things to come out. So eventually I'll be doing more work inside, which is actually pretty new to me. I've never worked on the internal components of an engine. So there's the intake gear pulley. The spring also goes bad on these things, and when it's a cold start, you'll have like a knocking sound, and then it'll go away. So I do have that coming also from Japan, a lot cheaper than getting it from the dealership. They wanted like over $200 just for that gear. As always, no matter what I do, whatever parts I get, I'll definitely be linking all the parts in the description. So this is just like kind of like an introduction to the car and what I'm working with. But overall, it's pretty clean. I mean, there's obviously some areas. I want to definitely get a new fuel rail. I think I'm going to keep the intake the way it is. And the throttle body, I'll probably keep it the way it is, unless when I do get an intake, because obviously the goal of this is to mod it up and change it and make it better and make it faster and make it more powerful. Once I get the intake for this, I will see if I will need a throttle body. So obviously people will let me know if it's definitely worth it or not, or keeping the stock one. I did do a deep cleaning of it the other day. While I had all the parts out, because I had to get into this side of the engine, you could see. So like I said, when I got the car, it was more for like a 9-to-5 drive. It was a very fun 9-to-5 drive. But then once the years progressed, I don't want to say I neglected it, but obviously when you live up in the East Coast, you get a lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of salt, and all you get is this corrosion, the rusting. But just an overview of what's coming. I definitely want to get, some transmission mounts. I think I'm going to do street ones, not like the super aggressive ones. I'm petrified and scared to death about getting the super aggressive, super stiff ones because I don't want to feel the vibrations. The car vibrates enough, and there's probably a reasoning behind that, which I've been doing a lot of research. And yeah, so I definitely, once I get in here, I'll definitely clean this out, maybe do some new cables, some clutch transmission cables, definitely replace the bushings. I know Acuity makes some, and yeah, some tensioner springs inside the transmission. Definitely want to play around with that. The clutch was replaced on this specific car 3 times. So I do 265,000 miles, 3 clutches. They say it's pretty normal, and it's actually really good. 3 clutches, which one included the factory one, and then 2 more after that. So I don't think I'll ever mess with the clutch, only because it's too complex and it's a lot of things and I don't have all the tools for it inside the garage. So I definitely will probably let this again, but it's recently replaced, so might not have to do much with that right now. Yeah, so definitely some new mods are going to be coming in, starting probably with the intake first. Then I'll make my way over to the fuel rails, the injectors. But for right now, it was definitely the exhaust, and I didn't do a catback. I definitely did a converter or catalytic converter in the back right below this. I know what you're thinking, or if you really want the performance, you probably got to get rid of it. I just don't want to deal with that because the car still has to get inspected. So it might not pass inspection, and I'm sure there's plenty of ways to go around that, but I'm not messing with that. So I did have to put a catalytic converter back on it, which I got one off. Again, I'll link all the parts that I did most recently. I'll link it in the description in case you're looking for one. It was awesome fit. Just went right in. It took literally under 5 minutes to put it in. Not disassembling it, just putting it in because everything was already taken apart. Well, I'll definitely be posting a video on the oxygen sensors. So that's the whole goal of this, is to create content and videos for people to know how to do things and the struggles that I went through. Maybe I found a better way to do it. Watch the video and they say, oh, that's how you do it. So that's pretty much the name of the game here. Maybe make a few bucks on the way to help pay for some of the mods. That would be great. So yeah, so stay tuned, and I appreciate you checking out the channel. If you are a Honda enthusiast and you love SIs maybe, or Type Rs, or anything Honda related, maybe these guys will like the content. So yep, until then, I'll see you guys.